Hello everybody, Negative G-Force here, and today I'm reviewing Cedar Point's Raptor. This is Cedar Point's B&M Invert, 137 feet tall. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. You start by putting over a vest restraint, which is a clicky kind, like a ratchet. You can kind of think of it like that. It's either you get squished or you feel like you're gonna fall out, which makes it very fun. The ride starts by the floor dropping and the gate falling, which is very intimidating if you haven't been on it before. Then you leave into a little dip. I guess you could call it like a pre-lift section, but it's more of a turn. Then you reach the top where there's a little dip and then a turn, and then I don't really know the degree of angle. I'll look that up real quick. Well, looks like we'll never know. Anyways, if you're in the back row, this is super scary because you start gaining speed and the cart in front of you like jolts back and almost squishes your legs. It's very unexpected and catches you off guard every time. And if you're in the back row, you get whipped down that first drop and it is insane. Then you go into a vertical loop, which depending where you sit can be very intense. Then you go into my favorite part of the ride, the 0G roll. Now this thing just whips you around and it is so unexpected and it gets you every time. But if you're in the back row or in the middle of the train, it is a little rough. Speaking of rough, we got the Cobra roll. This thing feels like it was designed by Arrow. The POVs make it look way smoother, but in real life you're banging your head right there. Some people find that enjoyable, but I do not. Then you do some meandering before doing an upward helix into the brake run, where normally you will see blue streaks stuck on the lift hill. Then you drop off the mid-course, which honestly is a better drop than the first drop. Then you go into a corkscrew, which if you're wearing glasses will hurt. And if you're in the back row, you'll die. That's what. Then you do some weird straight track before a little turn. At this point, you basically think the ride is over, but no, we got another corkscrew that rips off your head. Before entering my second favorite part of the ride, the helix, which gets more intense as you go. I've only grayed out once on this, but it still hurts my legs every time. Then you go into some weird straight track thing into a half helix into the brake run, and the brake run is so much worse than Gemini's. You go from like 50 miles an hour to 0 in like 0.1 seconds. I clearly just made all that up. But if you're in the back row, I don't even know what to say. You stop before you even make it to the brake run. It is very, very intense and almost ruins the ride, but it's still fairly enjoyable. Then, entering the station, you'll hear some questionable sounds that I don't think you should hear on a roller coaster, like some cracking and squealing and stuff. But nevertheless, it's still a really fun roller coaster. I have this ranked as my 7th favorite ride at Cedar Point. This ride is very photogenic, especially the vertical loop, and it's green. You don't see that many green roller coasters, but when you do, you know it's a good ride. For me, I'd say this is a front row ride. Back row is very bad. And middle row is just whatever. If you want to start out and you're scared of roller coasters, definitely do the middle row. But I think the front is the smoothest. Well, that'll wrap up my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.